week's episode of Naruto Shippuden. Madara Uchiha finally regains the power of his original Rinnegan eyes, Naruto becomes Ninja Jesus, and both Naruto and Sasuke get ready for the infinite Tsukuyomi. This week's chapter was a step in the right direction, but it also had some faults to it, which I'll get into a little bit later. Otherwise, there were some pretty big developments from this week's episode. First and foremost, Madara Uchiha. Guy's a boss. The guy is missing half of his body, and he is still lifting Obito up into the air and basically torturing him with flashbacks, which is one of the big negatives about this week's episode. There are abundance of flashbacks which really don't have anything to do with the overall story. The ones with Kakashi I can understand, because he's reminiscing about the time that he was originally with Team 7, when he was their sensei, and I can get that. But the one with Obito actually going after Rin and everything, I think that was a little too long-winded, and just that one short flashback they showed with Kakashi killing Rin was enough. It completely explained everything that was going on, but this is all, of course, when we get to learn that Madara is actually the one who is responsible for Rin actually being killed by Kakashi so that he could bring out the darkness of Obito and make him his slave. And he actually does end up taking his eye back, using his Kamui abilities to bring him back into the world so that he can fight against Naruto and Sasuke. And this leads to this amazing standoff where you have Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura standing together, getting ready to fight against Madara. And what's really cool about this scene is we get to learn more about Naruto's healing abilities. We already got to see him healing Guy, stopping his body from completely crumbling away, but in this week's episode, you can see that Sakura is doing everything in her power to try and heal Kakashi and make it so that he's not going to bleed out from his eye socket. But then you have Naruto, who just casually walks over, touches him like just for a few seconds on the head, and boom, his eye is back. Now what's really interesting about this is that it's actually Kakashi's original eye. He has his eyes back, and this is all tied into the whole symbolic thing of seeing his teammates for the very first time together, actually working together, and it is pretty heartwarming, but it eventually all leads to this action scene where Sakura stupidly just runs right into Madara, ends up getting stabbed and impaled, and tries to punch him, but Madara is using his limbo abilities to block all of her attacks, and it's up to Naruto who actually saves Sakura. This scene annoys me, and it annoyed me in the manga too, because basically Sakura did this just to get acknowledgement from Sasuke. At least that's the way I was getting it from the scene. And really, she couldn't do much against the Limbo clones or even Madara anyway, so she's basically benched at this point. Now no longer is she not only powerful, but she can't even heal as good as Naruto. So in many ways, this kind of diminishes the character of Sakura a little bit, and I think that is something of a disappointment. But it all leads to this amazing action sequence where you have Madara who actually activates his Chibaku Tensei. If you guys remember, when Pain actually used that ability, he just created this one giant meteorite. But Madara can create multiple ones. He sends his black chakra into the sky, it starts taking all of the earth and creating these giant meteorites, which he's just going to slam into the earth so that he can stop Naruto and Sasuke and actually create a little bit of time so that he can activate the infinite Tsukuyomi. This leads to the scene where you have Naruto who's using his Bijou Bomb Rasen Shuriken, you have Sasuke who's using the power of Susanoo who's literally flying up and cutting all the meteorites in half. It's really flashy and it's really cool, and it all ends with Madara ripping off that weird little thing he has on his forehead, which is actually protecting this other eyeball, which is right in the middle, and he uses that to activate the infinite Tsukuyomi, ending this week's episode. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? This was a really cool one, because it was really great to see Team 7 finally come back, work together. We've already had a few scenes like that in the war, but it was really cool getting to see actually Kakashi see them all together, reminisce about them. There is a flashback where we get to see when Kakashi meets them for the very first time, and it's just like the other flashbacks. You've seen it a million times. Naruto wants to become Hokage, Sasuke wants to kill Itachi, and Sakura doesn't know what the hell she wants to do. She just knows that she's obsessed with Sasuke. That's pretty much it. But really, it's all about that big final scene. That's when things really start to kick into high gear, where Madara is using his planetary devastation abilities, followed by activating the infinite Tsukuyomi. My only complaint about this episode, aside from the flashbacks with Obito and everything, is that the animation just didn't have a lot of weight and impact behind that. One scene in particular towards the very end of the episode is when both Naruto and Sasuke are using some real big devastating abilities while trying to destroy these meteorites. One, Naruto's Rasen Shuriken just didn't have the explosive impact I was hoping for. It was nice and flashy looking, especially when it actually made the meteorite explode. It just didn't seem like it had a lot of speed behind it. And then, of course, there's Sasuke using his Susanoo, which looked like he was barely just swatting these freaking meteorites. Like, there was just no impact or force behind any of the attacks. They really should have put more attention to detail. It literally looked like he just had a limp sword in his hand, and he was just like, go away, meteorites, I don't like you. No! It should have been like a big, badass moment where he's just like, ah! And swinging and destroying all of them, and you should have seen it go through the entire rock and just destroy everything. This was an opportunity for some amazing action, because right after this, we're getting right into the Infinite Tsukuyomi sub-story, and there are going to be some filler episodes devoted to that. This is something that we were fearing was going to happen, and is going to happen. Now, it is going to be an expansion on things we see in the manga, and I'm going to reserve my judgment until we see those episodes, but I am a little worried. But if it's any consolation, it looks like the artwork in the next episode is going to look very nice. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that. There might actually be some pleasant surprises behind what they're going to do with this Infinite Tsukuyomi thing. Otherwise, as far as progression goes, this week's episode was pretty good. There were some important details. Naruto's healing abilities, some brand new attacks they're using, Team 7 coming back, and of course the activation of Infinite Tsukuyomi. So as far as story goes, this is definitely an episode of Naruto Shippuden you gotta check out. But unfortunately, like a lot of the episodes that we've seen lately, the animation and the artwork just isn't up to snuff quite yet. Now, these are things that they could fix for the DVD release. They could make them look better. I don't think they're going to do that, but we're just going to have to wait and see. What I will say is this week's episode was still pretty exciting, despite the fact that the animation and the artwork could have looked better at times, and any Naruto fan should definitely check it out, especially if you're just watching the anime version. There are some crucial details in this week's episode, not even just the Infinite Tsukuyomi, but just learning that Madara was basically the mastermind behind everything, like, especially with the whole Obito thing. Like, he's freaking Emperor Palpatine. Like, that whole scene where he's explaining everything to him, it's just like him telling Luke Skywalker that it was him and his team who actually deactivated the shield generators on Endor. He's the one who's been running the show. Freaking Aizen style. That's what was going down in this week's episode. So, just an average action episode with some important developments. So, I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5. Just a fun average episode of Naruto that any Naruto fan should definitely check out. But I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about this week's episode? Did you have a favorite scene? Do you think that Naruto and Sasuke are going to be able to stop all the Chibaku Tensei? And are they going to all get trapped in the Infinite Tsukuyomi of Death? Please tell me what you hope to see from the rest of Naruto Shippuden. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. You guys should also check out our weekly podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast. It'll also be on our channel and on Rogue Intel and at iTunes. You should definitely check that out. Give us a quick review if you have the time. But as always, the best way to support our channel is to watch our videos, share them with your friends, and to subscribe to the channel. So thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.